Kanye West is reportedly set to acquire a social media platform for right-wingers known as Parler. Now, it's not a publicly traded company, so they don't have to disclose the health of their company. But if you look at their user numbers, Parler, not so great. If you look at the story from a broader perspective and look at it contextually, also not so great for Kanye, who might be getting scammed by right-wingers who are exploiting his mental health issues for profit. So let me give you the details and then I'll make my case. Now, Parlement Technologies, that's the company behind Parler, announced it has entered into an agreement in principle to sell Parler to Ye, who has been taking a bold stance against his recent censorship from big tech. Yes, what a bold stance to whine about being censored from, the more popular social media platforms for saying grotesque, disgusting, anti-Semitic garbage. In a statement though, Kanye said this about potentially acquiring Parler. In a world where conservative opinions are considered to be controversial, we have to make sure we have the right to freely express ourselves. I will give Kanye and other right-wingers credit for taking the mantle of conservatives being associated with anti-Semitism and hate. I mean, it's a real mask off moment. And it's amazing when you look at platforms like Facebook and Twitter where prominent Republicans, conservatives, people like Ben Shapiro are constantly trending. They're constantly on top 10 lists. And you still have the audacity to claim that the right wing is being censored. No, there's certain hate speech that these platforms don't want to be associated with. So when you say something, again, grotesque and anti-Semitic, they might want to take that tweet down. But the right wing, along with Kanye, like to equate anti-Semitism to conservative thought. And I guess they're accurate in saying that. Now the plan to close, they plan on closing this deal by the end of the year. So in the fourth quarter of 2022, of course. The CEO of Parlement Technology, though, is someone you should know about. His name is George Farmer, and he happens to be, that's right, Candace Owens's husband.
Oops.
Yeah, so this, in my opinion, might be yet another sign that Kanye's mental health issues are being exploited, not just for propaganda purposes, but also for cold hard cash. And we'll see how it plays out. But Cenk, I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, so he's definitely getting robbed, in my opinion. Now, so let me explain why. First of all, this deal's happening super quick. So sure, it's gonna take some paperwork to get to the end of the year, but they have an agreement that is solid enough for them to go public with it. And in fact, George Farmer told all the people that use Parler, I don't know if he hand wrote the 3 letters to send to them, but so it's official in that sense. That is super quick to make a deal. I don't know how long they've been talking about it, but he said that he got banned from Instagram and Twitter, what, about a week ago? Okay, so not awfully savvy to not do any of the due diligence in the deal. You could ask his friend Elon Musk about how that turned out, where Elon Musk overpaid by tens of billions for Twitter because he didn't do his due diligence. So, but when I found out that Candace Owens' husband was the guy who runs Parler, I was like, oh, okay, that explains everything. In a sense, it wasn't quick. Candace had him in that headlock for a couple of years now. Oh yeah, Kanye, you're so brave. You're so, come here, come this way, come this way. Oh, buy Parler, buy Parler. just deposited him there. Okay, so look, guys, I looked it up online. I don't know how reliable it is. There's certain parts that are more reliable than others, but they say that George Farmer is worth $180 million. So now, whether that number is exactly right or not, and take it with a giant grain of salt because it comes from some website that I didn't trust too much, but I'm telling you anyway. Why? Because they had things that were trustworthy. George Farmer's dad is called Mr. Copper in the UK because he's a copper magnate, okay? So he's, whatever the number is, he's incredibly wealthy, okay? Now the other initial investor in Parler was Rebecca Mercer. She's the daughter of Robert Mercer, one of the wealthiest hedge fund managers in the history of the world. So she has more money than God. But they're not putting any more money into Parler. Instead, they're dumping it on Kanye, or I should say his new name. I like the way you pronounce it, Anna. Yay.
Oh, it is. It's yay. But that's right. That's right. I used to say ye like a loser because I didn't think about it, but it's just Kanye shortened to yay. Kanye shortened to yay. That's how you gotta remember. Except I hate calling him yay. Like it's Kanye. Okay, I'm not playing your little game.
No, Anna, you know who's calling him yay? Candace Owens.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah, it sucks that you can't really figure out what's transpiring with that company because it's not publicly traded, so they don't have to do any disclosures to investors. But I did look into their self-reporting in regard to registered users. And let's talk about that a little bit, because I think it's important to do a comparison to other social media platforms. So let's go to the last graphic here. According to reporting from TechCrunch, Parler's monthly active user base on iOS and Android is 250,000. But remember, that's active user base. This is a little dated, so who knows what the number really is today. Facebook, just for comparison's sake, Facebook has over 2.9 billion monthly active users, while Twitter has over 200 million monetizable daily active users. Twitter actually stopped reporting monthly active users back in 2019, which is great that they did because they've got a ton of bots. So the number would be incredibly deceptive if they said, oh, we've got all these active users, they're really bots. But but in terms of like monetizable daily users, they say that they have 200 million. Anyway, I give you that because Parler also isn't the only right-wing social media platform, right? Truth Social, which was Trump's little project, also exists. Truth Social also isn't really doing that great. I mean, it's in terms of the number of users and the popularity. So I don't know. I feel like this is a terrible investment for Kanye. I don't think that he's in the right state of mind to purchase anything or invest in any company to this extent. I have very little sympathy for him considering the disgusting garbage and vitriol he's been spewing all over the place recently. But at the end of the day, when I look at his current mental state and I see the vultures circling around him, it just becomes clearer and clearer to me that he is being exploited for propaganda purposes, certainly, and in this case, potentially as an investor for a failing social media platform.
Yeah, look, the good news is that Kanye is going to have some, or Ye is going to have some synergies here. Because remember those garbage bags that he designed for Gap? He's going to get to put Parler in one of them. So.
Finally, some use for those garbage cans.
Yeah,
or bags.
So look, I'm a business man. So I know what these numbers mean, okay? 250,000 is awful, okay? So we have a lot of different parts of our business, TYT. But one part of it is a little bit apples and oranges, but I think you'll get a sense of scale. One part of it is the number of views we have. And that ranges between 3 to 500 million views a month. They have 250,000. Okay? I mean, it's tiny. And that's their whole business. The views are just a part of our business. That's their whole business, okay? He's buying nothing, he's buying air, okay? On top of that, they were deplatformed by Apple and Google before because of how deeply hateful they were. And when they were deplatformed from the app stores, they were like, it nearly ceased to exist, right? Now Kanye is saying, I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna bring anti-Semitism back, baby, okay?
No, it's better than that, Cenk. It's better than that. Because think about it, what's the whole business model for Parler, Truth Social, all of these right-wing social media platforms? Oh, we don't do moderation, we're uncensored, we're raw, we let people say whatever they want. Well, that got them booted from the Android store and the Apple store. And so when they were finally able to get back on those stores, they agreed to doing what? Moderation. So
of course,
the whole business model has collapsed. And here you have a wealthy person who's struggling with a mental health issue that he's clearly not getting the treatment for and the medication for, yeah, they're exploiting him for it. Like, that's what it appears to me. And so the question is, will Kanye ever wake up to any of this? I don't know, but he is surrounded by a bunch of yes men who refuse to tell him, hey, this is a bad idea. Don't do this. So he's gonna do it. We'll see how it plays out.
You took what I was gonna say, which is that you can't do anti-Semitism over the top like Ye is and not get deplatformed. So when they get deplatformed, if it was worth $10 now, it's gonna be worth $0 the minute Kanye puts his first post up. They're gonna get taken off the app stores and it's over, it's over. Why do you think they brought moderation back? Because otherwise they would cease to exist, they would be bankrupt. Why do you think they're not putting a single more dollar into that company? And so what Candace Owens did is like those low-level con men that like troll Senior Citizen Center, hoping to find a rich one and steal their money. And so when she found Kanye, she's like, how did I get this lucky? Okay, this guy has an IQ of about 12, and I could easily convince him, all right, wait, oh yeah, you're gonna be so brave, yay. Yay, you're gonna be so brave, right? Oh yeah, he's like, finally somebody figured it out. Oh, you're a genius, yay. Oh yeah, I am, aren't I? I'm Jesus and Moses put together, isn't it? Oh, you are. Here, buy this. I bet he paid so much money for this pile of trash that's Parler. And even if everything I'm saying is wrong, which it most certainly is not, there's no way that thing's worth a dime, okay? On top of that though, you have Rumble and Parler and Gitter and True Social, and now Elon Musk is buying Twitter. So that's 5 right-wing social media sites. How many do you need? Okay, so this is an epic disaster for everyone except the Owens family, who tonight only have one word in mind. Yay.